Addressing big toe mobility. A fundamental feature of the foot, often missed in our assessments, is first toe mobility, specifically the metatarsophalangeal joint. The first MTP joint should be able to extend as much as 65 degrees, but many people lack full range of motion due to osteoarthritis or injury. During the stance phase of gait, our toes dorsiflex to help raise the arch and provide greater shock absorption. And as the arch flattens, the toes, plantar fascia, and associated muscles eccentrically contract by way of the windlass mechanism shown here. This action helps bring the person forward with greater propulsion during push-off. However, it only works when there's great toe mobility. So in this demonstration, I'm going to begin by bracing the metatarsal bones of my right hand. My left hand's going to come on top and bring it into plantar flexion first, checking the amount of plantar flexion, distracting and bringing it into dorsiflexion or extension, checking for any kind of grinding sound, pain provocation, or just lack of range of motion. So here we go. The opposite foot. You've got to make sure that you maintain that brace with your right hand so you get an accurate reading. After we do dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, we're going to side bend and rotate at the same time. A little bit of rotation in there, side bending, checking for grinding sound, pain provocation, and or range of motion loss. Now I'm translating. Notice how it goes back and forth with the counterforce between the two hands. Coming back over to the left foot, grasping metatarsal joint there, and back and forth, side bending first, side bending, rotating, a little bit of distraction, and then translation. This really implicates osteoarthritis, that maneuver there. And now I'm just going to check for joint play between the metatarsals. It's a good idea just to go through here and see if you have any restrictions in joint play. I'm going to come over, and the final thing I'm going to do is AP joint glide, anterior posterior joint glide of all the metatarsals. Notice how I've got my palm around all of them. So it's up and back, up and back. It's like translation, but it's forward and back. AP joint glide, very important. Now let's assess for metatarsal movement on the cuneiforms at the tarsometatarsal joint line. So notice how I'm just side bending and rotating a little bit, grasping the cuneiforms, the distal cuneiforms, proximal metatarsals, and just putting a twisting force through there, rotating, translating, whatever you want to do through there. Just a movement back and forth to see if there's mobility between the metatarsals and the distal cuneiform bones. We're going to look at the cuboid on the outside now, and the navicular on the inside. It's important for those joints to be moving because of the arches. We want to make sure we have a lateral and a medial arch. So here we go. I'm bracing at the navicular bone and cuboid and translating, rotating, and side bending to try to check for mobility. Now for Morton's neuroma, we mentioned that earlier. If the metatarsals are squashing the little nerves in there between the toes, we can get irritation, inflammation, and pain usually on the top of the foot. So all you do is just put a squeezing force on top, and if there's pain reported primarily on the top, that's a Morton neuroma problem.